Blap Chat, Blap Chat, Blap Chat. You ready, dog? Yeah.
Everything is blap.
Yeah, that was a good intro.
Blap over naps.
Blap over naps.
No sleep.
No sleep.
Team no sleep, son.
Blap
Team no
over
sleep.
naps.
You know what I mean? What's good, guys? This is Blap Chat episode, I believe it's 85.
85.
Yep.
Episode 85. Yeah, man. We're here. I'm your host, Illmind. This is Blap Chat, the all music production podcast. I'm here with my co-hosts. I'll let them shout themselves out.
Good lyrics and music.
You already know.
And my child.
With a special guest.
Ollie. This is Ollie.
This is our very special guest, Ollie,
Yes.
in the building. What's up, Ollie? Say something. Ready? Go ahead. What do you want to say? All right.
Get a couple of sniffles.
Exactly.
All right.
Sniff the mic. That was it.
Sniff them out
It's your
first.
girl, Perfection.
Perfection in the building.
building.
Repping a BX.
BX all day. All day.
That's so New York, right?
That's
day.
right. Yep, Atlas here. How you doing, guys? Nice to meet you.
already know.
That was very fitting.
Atlas the plug is here. We're all four of us are here. It's it's a special time when the four of us are here.
Facts.
I think
Special
'cause,
moments.
We can really talk our shit. You know what I mean?
Yo, can I talk my shit real quick?
You can.
Talk it.
I almost died this weekend.
Oh, before we get into that, 'cause that's
Before death.
Before death.
Atlas had a very traumatic
Oh, my
experience
goodness.
over the weekend.
I think I have PTSD or whatever.
Yeah,
that's called.
that was wild.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, though, a couple announcements. Shout to all of our YouTube subscribers, our subscribers on iTunes, SoundCloud, followers. Really appreciate you guys. Every time you hit that follow button or that retweet button or that repost button on SoundCloud, or you comment on our pages, we really appreciate that. And we want to continue to provide for you guys and get the word out there, about what we're talking about, what we're doing. So shout to all of our followers, subscribers, all of our followers on social media. Of course, it's at BLAPCHAT, BLAPCHAT. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.com/BLAPCHAT. Make sure you follow us, man. And, to all of our new listeners, our OG listeners, man, you are appreciated. Shout to all the producers, rappers, artists, writers, everyone on the grind. We try to provide insight and clarity and, debate, a little debate here and there about everything that's going on in our world, being music producers and people that make music. So we like to have fun with that. So shout to all you guys. Speaking of connecting as well, I will be traveling a little bit more in the next couple months. Obviously next week I have my Pass the Aux private in-studio session. Next week I have 2 back-to-back in New York City, both sold out. So I'm not even going to tell you to buy a ticket because you can't. They're both sold out. Yeah. So basically what I've been doing all year in 2018 is I've been going to different cities every month. And I basically just choose a secret studio location, and then I invite about 25 to 30 upcoming music producers, singers and songwriters as well, and rappers. So they come through and we just hang out for 5 hours, plug the aux in. Literally everyone goes around, plays their music. I give you critique, feedback. We talk about your situation. I'm answering questions, and then we film the whole thing and throw it on YouTube. So that's Pass the Aux. Shout to everyone who's attended one of my Pass the Auxes. We've had some really legendary sessions, and I'm really looking forward to next week for the double header, New York. It's gonna be awesome. And those 2 dates have been sold out for a while, so I'm thinking about adding a 3rd date. Probably not going to be in October. I'm leaning toward December. So if you're listening to this and you're in New York City and you're a music creator and you want to come to my Pass the Aux session, just follow my social media or go to my website, illmindproducer.com, illmindproducer.com with an I, and you can see all the cities and dates and where I'm coming. So basically, next week, like I said, New York, November 3rd, I'll be in Phoenix, Arizona. There's a few tickets left for that, so if you're in Phoenix and you're listening to this and you want to attend that and come through, it's going to be legendary. That's Saturday, November 3rd, and then Monday, November 5th, I'll be in Los Angeles. That's sold out. Tuesday, November 6th, I will also be in Los Angeles. So again, I'm doing a double header in LA in November, Monday, November 5th, and Tuesday, November 6th. There's like 2 tickets left on the November 6th LA one. Once that's gone, then that's pretty much it until next year. And then in December, on December 10th, I'll be in Miami, Florida. Again, there's a few tickets left for that. So if you're in Miami or in the Miami area and you want to come to my Pass the Aux session, make sure you register ASAP. Go to illmindproducer.com. That's December 10th in Miami. And like I said, I might do a New York one in December as well and try to end off the year that way. But check my website for updates on that. Also, too, go to BLAPKITS.com. Get those kits, man. I just dropped that new sample pack. There's a couple new sample packs on there. That Billboard killer. I'm hearing a lot of you guys copying the kit, flipping the samples, and then sending me beats. I've already started to shop a few from some of the ones I liked. So go to BLAPKITS.com, cop that sample pack, Billboard killer, and then shoot me an email with your beat, man. And if I like it, I'll hit you back and start shopping those out and start get placements. So yeah, hit that up, and that's about it. That was a long plug, but and you guys know I never plug. I never plug. But I want to start.
Let them know.
Yeah, exactly. I need to start like taking advantage of letting you guys know what's happening in my world, in our world. So
and get those tickets.
So get used to that, son. You know what I mean?
And get those tickets.
Let's just start this off really quickly by Atlas breaking down that fucking traumatic.
Yeah. Check it out.
That was wild.
I was at the Global Citizens Festival over the weekend in Central Park, and 60,000 people, and I'm in the middle of the Great Lawn. I'm in the middle of 60,000 people, so there's like 30,000 people in front of me, 30,000 people behind me.
Insane.
And Shawn Mendes performed, Cardi B performed. I was waiting for Janet. I really, really, really fucking wanted to see Janet. And The Weeknd. And it was me and my cousin Keith, Just Keith on Instagram. And I looked down at my phone and I look back up and I see 30,000 people running for their lives, literally like in my direction. And my cousin's like, come on, let's go. Like, I felt like I was in the military. Like, what do you do? First of all, if I would have stood there, you would have got trampled easily because everybody was running for their lives. Everyone, and they were saying like gunshots, and you heard like 2 or 3 little pops. So like everyone started running, and so I would right away in your head you're thinking like the Vegas shooting, you know, like the Boston Marathon, crazy. Like the World Trade. You're just literally within those split seconds thinking about all this stuff. And it's me and my cousin falls as we're running because it's pitch black and the barricades were all knocked over and everybody's literally running and screaming. And my cousin falls on the floor. And within like the 2 seconds that he fell on the floor, you just saw like 150 people just hurtle over him, like just so fast. And then I reached down and I grabbed my arm and I pick him up, and his shoe was stuck on the barricade. His sneaker was stuck on the barricade. And other people were kind of falling in that area too. It's like a little ditch. And remind you, it's almost pitch black. And there's like thousands of people. And I just put my arm on and I pick him up. And man, again, I felt like I was in the military. I was like, don't fucking let go. Come on, let's go. And like running through the crowd, and like people are calling their parents, and everyone is fucking mayhem, dude. I've never been so scared in my life, literally running for my life. And luckily, you know, I live close to Central Park, so I walked. So my cousin didn't have a sneaker. I gave a shoe. I gave him my sneaker. I walked home with one sneaker. And I get home, and I go on Instagram on the Global Citizens, and fucking Janet Jackson's performing. I'm like, what the fuck?
And you missed the show.
I'm like, how did...
Wow.
What? How is she...
How did she perform?
First of all,
gunshots?
Shawn Mendes, you're a talented kid. I like... Keep doing your thing, bro. You're out of here. You're awesome. But I really wanted to go see Janet. And like, as I'm running, I'm like... I want to see, like, not after Shawn Mendes. I'm not going to go like this. Like, at least let me see Janet. You know what I'm saying?
So what was, like, why were people running?
So at first everyone thought it was gunshots. That's what started the whole thing, right? Then they said it was... Then they said it was a police barricade, like, fell. And then they said it was, like, cocktail, like, champagne bottles, like, pop. All you heard was, like, pop, pop, pop. And then that was it. Everyone.
You know, I don't know if I believe the barricade falling story.
Yeah, why would that be?
Listen,
what did it sound like? You were there in person. What did it really? Did it feel and sound like?
I'm going to be honest. It happened so fast.
Right.
People said they heard like 3 shots. Mm-hmm. You got to remember, like, Cardi B just performed. There's thousands. Everyone's talking and just kind of in there. And then I look up and everybody's running. So
right.
I didn't hear shots. I literally just saw everybody frantically running and screaming, and that just caused mass chaos. So the thing that's kind of, that I thought was weird is, like, I got home and I look and Janet's performing and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
so it must have not been anything major because
right.
they didn't evacuate the space.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, that's the type of thing is, like, you have so many people that, you know, everybody's already on edge, or you're in that kind of environment that it could have been balloons and one person's like, oh my God, a gun.
No, done. But and then the thing is, like, the next day, I was like, I even called my mom and was like, Mom, listen, you're going to see it on the news. Like, there was gunshots at the thing. We're okay. I'm with Keith. Like, everybody, like, it was that crazy. Thousands of people in the streets.
That's
it
crazy.
Was nuts.
At least you guys are good.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are good. Prayers and shouts that, you know, it wasn't anything serious. But in the moment, very fucking scary.
Dude, scariest moment
thankfully,
of my life.
No one got trampled.
See,
that was the main thing, because I'm sure somebody did. Trust me, there's going to be lawsuits. Somebody's getting sued, not from me, because I'm fine, but, like, bad shit. I'm telling you.
I don't know. Your leg looks kind of.
Listen, my neck's kind of hurting.
You know, I think your neck's hurting.
I got a little whiplash,
and I think you did.
And I got a little PTSD. So if there are any lawyers out there, I'm just kidding.
See, but that's why, like, those type of settings are cool, like the festival.
No
but,
more
like,
for me. I'm done.
I cannot stand in the middle of 30,000.
I'm done. And normally
like,
I don't.
I'm all the way in the back where I can leave when I choose.
That's what I'm doing.
All the way in the front, or I'm backstage.
Yeah.
I'll be that person.
Well, let this be a lesson.
Never again.
Just, you know, be careful. Be careful and don't jump to conclusions either. But you know, if you
jump
see
for your life though, if you see 30 people coming.
If you see 30,000 people running, you're gonna.
You know what? I'm not gonna front. When I first got there, I was like, damn, they're not serving any alcohol. That's kind of lame. They were serving like soda and water and shit.
Right.
But thank God they didn't. Because if there would have been like more drunk people, it would have been. Definitely more bad.
There were people that were drugged out there. That
without a doubt. Oh man, even on the line before you went in.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna front. My man was making a nice hustle. There was a guy on the line before you went in. He had a wheeling cart, and he was selling frozen margarita drinks for like $5.
Nutcrackers.
For $5 and like little quarter drinks kind of thing.
Nutcrackers.
So you know he made them in the crib the night before. He was popping them off at $5.
Of course.
That's the.
He was making a killing.
No, they do. They sell on the train. They sell
that's a hustle. It's a hustle.
Fire.
They sell at the beach.
It's a hustle. Well, listen, guys, just be careful next time with those shows. You know what I mean?
I'm
like
good,
you just never know. But
always bring
for the most
straps.
part, don't I bring the strap?
Get the strap.
Yeah, I was like, just always get the strap. You know?
Pull up, and just have fun. Try to have fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of shows, I went to the J. Cole concert at MSG. Phenomenal.
Wow.
Phenomenal. I mean, I knew obviously J. Cole is like top 3 for me right now, but it just further solidified his celebrity, star power, his impact. I've never been to a show sold out Madison Square Garden. You're talking about 50,000 people plus probably, and every single person in there knows all the lyrics to every song, including album cuts. Like, I mean, the guy's just, the way he's been impacting his fan base and just people in general is really just a sight to see. So shout to Cole. When he performed Love Yours, I lost it. You know, I was almost tearing.
Good for you.
Because I'm like, man, like watching this being performed live and being there and just seeing how people are reacting to it was like, that was a moment for me. So shout to Cole, man. Like
in Madison Square Garden. Good for you,
Il. There was some cool people in there too. That's awesome. Rory was there. My man Benner was there. Wayno, Scotty Beam. So there was a couple people that were there too. Shout to Baz for helping me out backstage because they were fucking. I didn't have the right badge, so Baz was like, "Man, come on, that's Illmind, man. He's one of Cole's producers." And they were like, "Nope, sorry, you need the right badge." And it was just madness.
That is so annoying.
Yeah, so I just bounced and went to like the private the area where you can watch the show and stuff. So, but it's on the, it's MSG. It's like these people don't give a shit.
Oh, they're super strict, strict. Good for you, man. That's so awesome. He's got them all. I mean, that's someone who can literally just has everyone in the palm of his hand when he rocks.
Yeah,
and then for you to produce a record, and you're in, it's like a dream. You're in Madison Square Garden, and your record's being played.
Yeah,
good for you, man. That's so awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. I still ain't shit though. I'm not shit.
Fuck you.
I ain't shit. I haven't done a song with Cole in 4 years. That was the only song I did. Come on, Cole.
Which he says is like his favorite song he's ever recorded. So
it's my favorite. It's one of the most important songs I've ever done.
Whatever songs,
and of course, shout to Cardiac and Critical for producing that with me too. Anyway, enough about me. Man, today's gonna be a really, really great episode. I feel like we have so much to cover. We have a really, really amazing special guest. Speaking of get the strap.
Speaking of acquiring the strap.
Speaking of acquiring straps, we have my guy here, our special guest, really amazing music producer, been on the grind for a long time, and slowly kind of through the years finding these milestones. And that's a big thing I really love about interviewing producers that are also active, and I look at us like this big community. There's always an interesting story behind placements and grind and struggle and how to overcome that stuff. And there's always these like common denominators for everyone in terms of how and why they were able to really weather the storm, and I'm really interested to hear your story. So let's clap it up one time for my guy Trilogy in the building.
Trilogy. What's up?
Trilogy's in here. What's up, man?
What's going on, man? Pleasure to be here.
Chilling, man. Thank you for taking the time. Man, I think we should start with just let the people know what you did in the past, because I know the answer to that. But for those who don't know, just name a couple records that you've done, in the past year or two that you're really proud of that have come out.
I did a record on Chris Brown's last album.
Okay.
I Love Her.
That was on the Heartbreak on a Full Moon.
I think that's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah. There you go. It's a sleeper. It's one of the sleepers on the album.
Absolutely.
Is that how does it go again? It's like
I think they said it's the one they don't know if he's talking about Karrueche or Rihanna.
The one that's like because there's two songs I have in mind. He's like the one that's like I love her.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's my shit.
Yeah, it got like a Caribbean vibe to it.
Yeah, man.
That one, and most recently I did Get the Strap. 50 Cent, Uncle Murda. Casanova.
Get the Strap. 6ix9ine. I mean, one question is what the hell? Like, what was your like?
Listen.
What was the connection?
Okay, I can't wait to hear this story.
Yeah, I mean,
how the fuck does that happen? That's what I want to know.
So 6ix9ine, 50 Cent, Get the Strap. There's a video. One of those like 2018 pop culture kind of like iconic moments because everyone's talking about it and all that stuff. Walk us through A to Z. When did you make the beat, and how did you get it to that point?
All right, so during that time I made the beat, I was already working on Uncle Murda's next project. I already got like 5 joints recorded with him, went to the studio, already built a relationship with him. So they was trying to finish it up, and my guy Blanco, he hit me like, yo, we trying to finish this project up. You got any more joints to send? Because it's like everything I played, they was like really liking it. So I was like, yo, let's finish it up with more joints from Trill. So
for the Uncle Murda.
Yeah, for his project. So I think 2 days before, I actually made the beat and I named the beat "Get the Strap."
Wow.
So I had it in my sent box. So I just sent it like, all right, whatever. So I sent the beat over. 2 days later, he calls me.
Who did you send it to?
Blanco.
Okay.
That's Uncle Murda's partner.
Right.
Yeah. So 2 days later, he called me. He's like, yo, you got to get the Strap record with Murda and 50. I'm like, what?
Wow.
I'm like, you kidding me? He's like, nah, you got it, boy. You out of here. I'm like, nah, I don't believe it. Then he sent me the record, and I heard it, and I was like, yo, I was floored. I was like, yo, I was like speechless. Just off of that alone, I was speechless.
So the track was called "Get the Track," "Get the Strap."
Yeah,
is what you named it, and then you sent it off, and then the song ended up being called that. Yeah, and then so that basically you just made that whole campaign.
No, the campaign was already there.
The campaign was going.
Oh, it was already there.
Yeah,
oh, I thought
50
this was
already had the campaign.
Oh, I got
just
you.
When
so
I
you
made
just
the beat,
named it and sent it to Fifth. Got
the energy I got from the beat, because that's how I operate off of vibes and everything.
Copy.
So a lot of the songs that's been done,
That's great.
the artist really takes the name that I gave the beat.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like...
That's what I thought happened. Yeah.
So when I made the beat, I was like, yeah. I was mad hype. I was like, yo, get the strap.
Get
So
the
I
strap.
mean, get the strap. I sent it off. So I guess when they heard it and seeing the name, it just put it together for them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just glad you didn't name it Beat01_563.
The day.
That track would have probably never happened if I did that.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just crazy. And then
Okay, so yeah, Blanco has it. So he sends you the track. It's 50 and Uncle Murda.
Yeah.
So then what happens next?
A couple weeks go by. They was like, yo, we trying to get Tekashi on it. I'm like, okay, but I think in this time he was on his European tour, so he was in the country, so it's kind of hard to get him. So I'm like, all right, but in this point, I'm waiting. It's like, all right, when they gonna drop this record? Because in this time, Drake dropped his project.
Yep.
Pusha T dropped his project. Kanye, Jay-Z, and Beyonce dropped their project. So I'm like, all right, all of those is out everybody's system now. Now it's the perfect time to strike, because you don't want to drop it in the middle of all of that.
All that madness.
Yeah, it's gonna get lost. So I'm like, yo, it's the perfect time to drop it. They waiting. Then I get a call from somebody at Stars. It's like,
Stars Network.
Yeah.
Power.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now it's gonna be on Power. So now I get the license agreement. I'm like, oh shit.
It's really happening.
This is really happening.
This is real.
So I'm like, this is really happening. It tells you the scene and everything. So I'm like, they spoil it for me.
Yeah.
Right.
They spoil it.
So
for
you
me.
knew before
Yeah,
everyone.
I
Damn,
knew.
you knew. Damn.
Do you watch Power?
That had to be
Yeah.
fun, though. That had to be fun, though.
They spoil it for me. I'm like, damn, why I gotta find out like this?
Yeah.
Like, so while everybody's watching it, when the song comes on, like, I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I ain't spoil it for everybody else though.
Yeah.
So I was just
Good.
like, all right, good. So
You still got to watch it with everybody, though. That was
yeah,
really
and then
cool.
when I actually heard it, I was like, I still like was hearing it for the first time.
Right.
So I'm like, yo, this shit is unreal.
Iconic.
Then, because I went to the video shoot, so I met Tekashi, I met 50, everybody. I was just chopping it up with them and everything. It's like, yo, son, like, you want some other shit? Like, this is what New York needs. Like, you about to bring the city back. So that was good. And then, what happened after that? After it premiered on Power, they dropped the video that night. So it's like they had this whole campaign, this whole rollout set up.
I mean, you know, it's 50. He's got the
but you know what's crazy?
rollout.
You know what's crazy? Like, the record didn't leak anywhere.
That's incredible.
He harbored that.
That
shit.
record did not leak.
He knew what
not
he
a
could
snippet,
do.
nothing.
Yeah.
So I wonder who was the one that kind of like thought of who to put on the song, like even going with Casanova and Tekashi, like who? Because I think they like it makes sense, like
because it was on some New York stuff.
yeah,
you know,
some grimy,
New York
like
shit.
the grimy New York,
It's like who's dope in New York,
like the current grimy New York.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I could say it's just like I handed it to Blanco and he just
He put it in the
A&R
put
book.
it
that
together.
shit.
Shout out to Blanco
Right.
for
Shout out
that.
to Blanco.
A&R that.
Shout out to Blanco for that. So okay, so that happens. Now that was this past summer, right?
That was like a month ago.
A month ago. So that was August, September-ish.
It dropped August 26th.
Okay, yeah.
It already got like 30 million views on
So
YouTube.
end of summer,
Yeah.
it's popping off. So what's life like after that comes out? the phone calls, this, obviously Blanco is probably really excited.
Yeah.
You know, have you continued dialogue with like 50, and obviously, you know, you're still working with Murda, but like what kinds of opportunities are now opening up after this?
I'm in direct contact with Mario from G Unit.
Shout out to Mario.
Yeah, he's always hit me like, yo, send me some stuff.
Send me more shit.
Yeah, so I sent him stuff. I'm still working with Murda and Blanco. This next record just dropped with Murda and Dave East that I produce as well.
Yep, I was just going to talk about that.
Fire. Oh, that just feels so New York.
Yeah.
We need this in New York.
I love it.
Facts.
Trilogy, you might be at the, you know, not even might. I mean, this is a moment where you can really be at the forefront of street New York music, kind of making a comeback.
Yeah.
And so, in your opinion, you know, we have, you know, Uncle Murda, we have, you know, even Casanova, I'll throw in there, like 50, Tekashi. Who are some other artists in New York that you feel like could really fit that sound that you might want to like be targeting right now?
I mean,
if any.
It's kind of hard right now because it's like most New York artists don't sound like they're from New York. So it's like I gotta go to like the older school guys like Chips, Mo, this dude out of Brooklyn. His name is Mo Chips. I did a lot of joints with him, and he likes a lot of my stuff because, you know, that's that sound that's been missing, as opposed to like just. Somebody said this about my beats. Like when they hear my beat, they don't rap, but they feel like they could rap. And I was like, wow, like that says a lot. So imagine how an actual rapper would feel.
Right.
So, and I just move with that philosophy. Like, I just want somebody to speak what's on their mind. And be able to like get it off their chest.
So were you raised in New York?
Nah, I was born in Jamaica.
Okay.
I came here when I was 15 years old. I started listening to hip hop in '98.
So you lived in New York like after that when you came from Jamaica?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've been in New York for a while to kind of like, because I heard the accent.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
You know, like we've spoken to producers before where they weren't from the city, but they kind of like emulate the sound. So I was just wondering, like, if you were raised in the city, because like you understand how that's supposed to sound and those type of artists that should be on it. So
my first summer in New York, you got to understand, it was classic albums that dropped that summer. DMX's Dark and Hell is Hot.
98.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jay-Z, Volume 2.
Yep.
So
Volume
like
2.
Those, like is embedded.
Just those two alone.
Yeah.
I think Eminem dropped Slim Shady that year too, 98. Right?
Or 99.
His first album. Or it might have been 99.
Yeah, that too. His first album too.
The Roots came out in 98. Black Star came out in 98.
Yep.
Pete Rock, Soul Survivor.
Mace, Harlem World.
So many.
Yeah, so it's like, I always like go back to that sound.
Right.
And it's like, that's why I started listening to hip hop.
Right.
Because of that sound. Because before that, I really wasn't. I'm from Jamaica. I listen to dancehall music.
Yeah, exactly.
So
now in your production process now, like being, shit, you guys can still hear me?
Yeah.
I just lost my headphones. Anyway, are you still do you make beats like that too? Like, are you kind of like?
Yeah, I actually have a song. I don't know when it's gonna come out. I don't know if I should say it, but my guy told me it's already done. A song with Sprague Benz and Kimani Marley.
Hey, whoa,
yeah. So
you heard it here on BLAPCHAT.
Yeah, so it's
fire. Wow.
Yeah, that's
what's your like your work process like? Are you someone who like has to wake up early and like go to the gym and then like, you know, start getting in? Are you a night person? Like, do you have, like what's your everyday? Every day, like
as far as making music?
Yeah, like it's right now. You know what I mean?
It's very random.
Okay.
It's very random. It's like I'll sometimes it'll just start from me turning the computer on. I have nothing in mind, nothing planned. I don't know what I'm gonna do, and you know, I just hear something, and that'll just trigger something, and it'll trigger something else, and it'll trigger something else. So I sit there and start one beat, and while working on this one beat, I hear 5 other beats. So I have to stop this one, get the idea out for those other 5 beats. Then when I'm done, go back and do all the technical stuff, you know.
Write the bells and whistles. Yep.
But how do you do that though? Do you like let's say, so what program do you use?
Fruity Loops?
Yeah.
FL.
Yeah.
So let's say you're on FL and you're working on a beat, but you hear something completely different. Do you close the whole session, or like what do you do? Okay.
I'll stop it, or if it's something in that session, I'll take it and bring it to another session and start working on it from there. And then I'll do that a couple of times until all my ideas is done. and then I'll go back and then make sure the drums is tight, make sure the mix is tight, because all that stuff is like the important thing. You got to get the idea down, because it's like you lose it like that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Once you hear something in that split second, you have to.
That's what I was saying, because it's like you working on one beat and you hear something else and you like close your session and start a new one. By the time you do all that, it's already like you got to like put that down quick before you even lose that, and then having to go back. Like you don't go back to the first idea, right? You just keep later on.
Yeah, later on, like once I feel like all right, all the creative side is finished. Now let's take care of the technical stuff, make sure everything is knocking, and you know, like that.
Now, for the Get the Strap beat, what came first? Was it melodies, drums? Were there any samples in it? I don't want you to sample snitch on yourself if there are, but what was the process?
The organ.
No, the organ was me.
Oh no, I'm saying it was. He's asked what came first.
Oh
yeah.
It was. I made that beat in like 10 minutes.
Wow.
Dang.
I'm not gonna lie.
I believe it. I mean,
you know why?
That's how long it takes.
You know
sometimes.
why? It goes back to the same thing that I said. That the drums and everything was already done on another beat. So I went into that session.
Grab the drums,
let it rock out. So I was just going through stuff, and I heard I'm like, hold up, what's that? So I put that in there, and then in 5 minutes I did the organ, did the bass line. That was it.
How many instruments was on that track?
Like 4, 5.
The drums, organ, bass, and it was like a little electric organ.
That's great.
It's like 4 instruments.
You got. Listen, Trilogy.
That's hard, yo.
You got all the publishing.
You got it, baby.
You got all the publishing. All the publishing.
Let's get that copyright, boy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, thank God. Shout out to my lawyer, man.
Yeah. Shout to the legal team. They're the true.
They're the one that make you sleep at night.
Yeah, they're the gatekeepers out here. So you know it's so interesting because like with every placement, there's always a story behind it, and it's so cool to hear that like this kind of evolved into something you didn't expect when you were making the beat. You weren't forcing it in your mind like, okay, this is gonna be for 50 Cent. You're just like, you know what, let me just like make some hard shit that I like. And you knew you were working with Uncle Murda and Blanco, so it's like, yeah, they might fuck with this, send it off and see what happens. Like you said earlier,
I never even thought that.
Yeah, you never even thought it would be anything. And I think that's like a lesson that we can all learn sort of like as music producers. Like, you know, when you're in the process of creating the actual beat, in my opinion, I feel like you should be as free as possible and just make art and then let the music dictate kind of where it should be and what it is, and not really have any expectations, right?
Yeah, I learned that a long time ago, because like, you know, you sit there, you spend 2 days on a beat, yo, this is fire, they gonna mess with this, and nobody picks the beat.
No one picks it.
And the one you spend 10 minutes on, you're like, yo, I want that. Then you realize like, I'm not worrying about it no more.
And that happened, exact story has happened too many times for it to be coincidence. So I don't believe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how often, this might be a question for everybody. How often do you send, let's say like a person one beat versus like a beat pack? Is it only when you, like obviously it's like when you hear somebody on it, right? You're like, yo, I hear 50 on this, let me send it to Mario or whoever. Do you find yourself doing that more often, or would you rather send a couple beats?
What's your process like, Trill?
My process is, if somebody's working on a project, like the process was Murda, I was actually in the studio playing him beats. So he'll be like, yo, thumbs up, and I like make a note of the ones, and then I'll go back and study like, what is it about all these beats that he picked that he liked.
Yeah, smart.
And then that's when I go back and my next batch I
cater it to more.
Yeah, so now it's gonna sound along those lines. So you got to understand the artist that you're working with as a producer. You can't just be anybody. Like with computers and everything, a 13-year-old kid can make the next hottest record now.
That's a fact.
Yeah, and that's great that you're in the actual studio with Murda, because you just get that synergy, and we say that all the time on this podcast. You know, the preferred method is always going to be try to get in the studio with the artist.
Yeah, because it tells in the music at the end of the day, and you could tell as opposed to somebody just sending a beat. And I mean, you might get one, but then when his project come out and you hear the joints that we did, you're gonna be like, oh,
yeah,
right.
Now I hear the cohesiveness.
and being in the studio with the artist, you don't have to necessarily feel like you have to go out of your way to sell yourself.
Right.
I think, you know, you being there,
the personality,
you've already they're already sold.
At that point it's just a vibe. At that point you just gotta solidify the vibe.
Yeah, don't be annoying and be cool and normal and let the music speak. And it's so interesting because when you think about being in the studio with an artist like you and Murda being in the studio together, as opposed to if you were to send a bunch of beats to an A&R who says or claims that they'll be in the studio with Murda, you don't really have access and you don't know how that meeting can go. And also too, you're not really clear on the type of relationship that person has who's about to play your music with the artist. It could be a random A&R intern who really doesn't know the artist like that, or it could be one of the best friends, which is great. And I think that definitely makes a difference, and that's a determining factor on if the artist will even like the beat or not.
But with my processes, I never came up through anybody in the so-called music industry. Like all these relationships I developed is just from
on your own,
knowing somebody that's, for lack of a better word, that's in the streets that knows this person. Right. It's like, yo, my man make beats. All right, let me hear what you got.
Exactly.
And that's it. Like, there's nobody at no label office. Yo, send me something. Somebody's working. I mean, that's just starting to happen now because I've made a name for myself. But everything has been just groundwork. Hustle.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And exactly what we talk about on this podcast all the time. Like, building your own direct relationships with people as producers, preferably the artist, but having a direct relationship with an actual like human being is everything. And to go back to what you were saying earlier, Perfection, like in terms of like sending beat packs out and stuff, one thing that I've been doing lately is texting beats. So I'll have everything saved on like a Dropbox, and then I'll just save those beats on files on my iPhone. And then I'll just, from the Files app, I can directly text a beat to someone. And I've found that to be very effective because
people are always in their text messages.
People are in their shit. And you can tell when they see it, and they'll just click play and do this.
Right.
They might not hear the 808. But
or they might even have headphones on.
They might.
They might be in the car. They might have the Bluetooth.
If it's fire on the phone.
Does that get you sometimes though? Because I've done that, or I'll like play a beat out loud and you can't hear the 808, and I'm like, damn.
I don't like when people do that.
Yeah, they're not fully getting the. You know what I mean?
Don't play me nothing over the phone if there's a sub.
Right.
You can be like, oh, this is tight if you can hear the sub. Like, oh no.
It's almost like watching like a movie that's meant to be like watched in like a theater with like full color, but like on a small screen in black and white.
Right.
Like you see it, but like you don't see it all.
See it how you supposed to.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's like you playing a beat for somebody, like, or a song for somebody, be like, oh, it's not mixed yet. You like
Atlas hates that.
Thank you for saying that, bro, because I call that no preface. Just hit play and shut the fuck up. Nobody cares.
Once you say that, you just be like, I might as well not listen to it now.
So
you might as well not play anything.
I'm about to play. I really felt like it connected.
I was sick that day. My vocals are a little pitchy.
Sort of doesn't matter.
You know, my cousin was in an emergency.
Nobody cares.
Actually, you know what? While I have you guys here, I had actually two questions, and one of them you guys answered, and one of them was, you know, I get hit up from a lot of producers, and I work with a lot of young producers where they feel anxiety when they're making a track. If they know it's like they're making a track for somebody, it's like, oh man, if they need like a J. Cole kind of type beat, then it just that. Right, exactly. But we already answered that. Actually, the next question I wanted to jump into is, I hear a lot of times artists say, and I know what I tell them, but I want you guys to say it, is like, well, you know, I got the beats, but I sent it to, you know, this pretty popular rapper, and I don't know if I should say, and to me, I'm always like, send it to everybody.
Right.
That's what I say, my opinion, because until someone actually picks it up, it's your property. You can do what you want. You can't wait on one basket. You know, put your eggs in one basket. That's just my opinion.
No, until you do the paperwork.
You get paid. Thank you.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you can record a song and put it out. You ain't paying me. We ain't doing no paperwork. Yeah. Somebody comes along and buys it, you'll be getting a cease and desist.
There you go. Exactly.
I don't care what you got going on.
Perfect. Yep. So it's okay. So what you're saying is it's okay for producers to send.
Yeah, I think. Well, what do you think?
No, I agree. Yeah. I just want your guys' opinion. You guys are established producers.
Do you now Trilogy? Do you send beats like to multiple people? Or? Yeah.
I send the same beat to whoever. Yeah. And it's like whoever send that paperwork back, that's who got the rights.
Right. There you go.
Yeah. So it's like it's up on the artist or whoever wants it to conduct proper business.
That situation's always tough because we've heard tons of stories where, producers would send an artist a track and then it's like, oh, I sent him that a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Or I sent that 2 years ago.
I don't want to send it out. He might take it.
Listen, I'm still placing beats now I've made 4 years ago.
Yeah. Right.
So all that goes out the window. What's old to you is new to everybody else.
Exactly.
But it's just that process is just interesting to me because it's like, just talking about the whole thing of sending people the same beat. There are people that don't, right? Like we've heard tons of stories where it's like, oh, I sent like even Seven, he's like, I sent that beat solely to Travis Scott because he heard him on it. So Travis Scott was the only person that had that. Yeah. But like within a year, let's say you sending it to tons of people and nobody picked it up, then a year and a half later Drake picks it up. It's like, damn,
it could work. It could happen that way.
Like that's just a crazy process of how music works.
In that situation, like you gotta understand, if it's dealing with an artist that could change your life, it's all bets off.
Oh yeah. So for sure
in that situation, because like with me, I work with Amadeus. And
shout to Amadeus.
Hey, shout to Amadeus.
He actually hit me. He's like, yo, Lil Wayne recorded a joint to one of my beats. It wasn't on this last Carter, but he's like, he's working, so you never know. So after he told me that nobody has heard that beat, I ain't play it for nobody. I ain't send it to nobody because you get something on a Lil Wayne project that could potentially change your life. So I'm not, that's off limits.
Yeah, exactly. When it comes to something like that, when you have a little bit of inside info, like, you know what, such and such.
I don't care if it takes 5 years. I'll wait.
Yeah.
There's certain artists. I think it was even like, I think we had Fuse from 808 Mafia, and he was like, yeah, when I knew when I made this track, it was going to Waka, or it was going to Future, like,
but
that was it.
It's just crazy to me because you don't know what the fuck's going on with your own product. No. Like, you send it to 6 different people, and you'd think that, like, no one picked it up, and then a year later, they're like, here's the paperwork.
Yeah, you find out when it drops.
Your song's been all...
A lot of times, you'll find out, kind of similar to the Stars thing.
Yeah.
You'll have a third party, whether it's a publisher or whatever, you'll get a random email and it'll be like, hey, so we just want to clear this record, and you see the names and you're like, oh.
Yeah, it's official.
Okay, those people are on this too. That happened to me with Black Panther. I didn't know who was on it because there was like NDA and can't say anything. We could only tell, like, no one could know. And then like my attorney sent me the paperwork for me to sign, and at the very top they show you all parties involved,
tells you the scenes,
with addresses,
the breakdowns, everything.
And you see, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, he's on there. Oh, that hit Soundwave. I was like, dude, why did you tell me? And it was like crazy, but that feeling is always just so wild. But you just never know. Everything is so random. Like, I think a lot of, and rightfully so, like, I think a lot of people, producers who haven't really experienced that yet, have this kind of misconception of like how it really happens. And it's really just so random, and it's not what you expect.
But I went through a lot though, because it was one point where I was making beats and music was being put out, and I wasn't even credited.
Oh, it's frustrating.
I went through that for years. They didn't even respect me to the point to
that's the fucked up part.
But what that allowed me to do was step away from being so much of a creator and force me to understand the business. So I'm like, yo, why am I doing all this work and I'm not getting compensated? This is not happening. Like, what am I doing wrong? So I stepped away because, as producers, we just love making beats and just hearing our stuff on the radio or wherever. All right, that's old now. Where's my money? So I mean, so that's when I woke up.
You gotta know how to put your foot down, and also having a good attorney. Like that's the deal breaker.
I was just gonna say, what do you think is the most important steps? Sounds like an entertainment lawyer.
Attorney. Definitely. Yeah, for sure. An entertainment lawyer. Yeah, awesome. More so than manager.
Yeah,
I would say. 100%. Do you have a manager?
Sure. Yeah.
So you got the whole squad.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good. Man, so like, life is different now after Get the Strap. What are you working on now? Like anything you can mention? Are you developing artists right now? Like what's the deal?
I'm doing everything right now. I'm still kind of like in that phase where like I'm not there yet.
This is the very beginning.
Yeah,
this is the beginning.
So it's like, I mean, I've been hit up by like so many people. Like I'm, you know, going through everything I went through. I'm like very leery of people now. That's trying to like.
Are you getting like random DMs? Like, yo,
mostly from like people that want my publishing.
Okay. They're offering you pub deals, so you don't have a publishing deal yet.
I love that he said that. I love that he said that.
Yeah.
No pub deal yet.
You know what's crazy? And you had him on your show, Lamont from Grace Firm. I actually DM'd Lamont before the Get the Strap record came up, and me and him spoke. Good. So it wasn't a situation where he reached out to me. We already had that communication before all of this. Right. So I felt it's more natural.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like I have more faith in Lamont.
We're building bridges here.
Is on it.
We're building bridges here on BLAPCHAT, people.
Lamont
We're building
is
bridges.
so on it.
He's the man. Shout out to Lamont.
He's on it, man.
Lamont.
And thank you, Trilogy, for coming through to my party. Yeah. You know, I really appreciate that.
Definitely.
And Illmind. You know, perfection, everyone pulling up. You know what I'm saying? That night was awesome.
Yeah. Virgo season was
and you know what, too? And listen, I know we're listening to have a lot of producers here. And me, myself, I'm not a producer. But, like, I just want people to know, you guys showed up at my party. And you guys showed us a lot of love. And it's about, like, when you start networking and building bridges. And even having you on the show today was, you know, from you coming to the party and us chopping it up, you know, with Ill and everybody. And it was just like, you know what, let's get you on. It just makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for that, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Like, I'm really, like, appreciative of everything that's happening right now because, like, I came from, like, zero.
Yeah.
From zero, and, like, I've just chipped away over the years, and it's like...
What year did you start this?
Actually producing? That's saying I want to be a producer? 2006.
06?
What was it that did it, that you said this is the time?
I always, like, had an interest in, like, in music production, but you know, in those times, if you didn't have a MPC and a Triton or a motif rack or something like that, like,
I remember those days.
Things were huge.
You got zero respect, and people were shitting on Ninth Wonder
for using
FL. Yeah, that was around the time. Listen, 2006. That was when I came up too. 06 was like, if you don't have an MPC or an ASR 10 or a Triton, you're not official. You use FL, you're trash. I don't want your drum kit. There are no drum kits. Motherfuckers were not sharing their drums.
Yeah, especially then.
Motherfuckers were not sharing
Definitely
their drums.
Not.
I'm not giving you my snare.
Definitely not.
Stock sounds.
Stock sound. You figure it out. I'm not telling you
want some sounds, you get stock sounds. There you
go. And another thing about 06, and I think coming up in that era, like it kind of helped us mold our like ability to make things happen on our own, because man, in 06, around that era, no producers were collaborating. There were no collaborations. Motherfuckers were not like, yo, come through, let me do the drums and you do the melodies, or no.
So you'll never find a video of Dr. Dre, Timbaland, Rodney Jerkins nowhere working on nothing.
No, of course there were musicians and stuff like that, but like producers weren't producing with other people.
You wasn't privy to any inside information.
So what's your opinion about the game now, the production game now, where there's all these co-pros and people are collaborating with each other? What's your take on that?
I mean, as long as the point is getting the job done, I don't have a problem with it. But like me, like I've never really like collaborated like that. Like I'm very like OCD when it comes to my beats. Like if I hear something and somebody wants to do something else, like I'm gonna just go
screws it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave. I can't do it. I'm gonna finish it on my own when he's not here.
Right.
So it's like I don't know if I could do that. I've never done it. So
you could do it. You could do it. Trust me, you could do it. Yeah. I see big things for you, bro. I'm telling you, with that one right collab, bro. And you're already doing your thing now, but man, you can. Whew.
Yeah.
I'm never opposed to anything.
So but the right mentality is exactly what you said. Like prioritize the quality of the song first. You don't want to just like spread yourself thin, pause, and collaborate just to collaborate.
Yep.
Like dudes now is like paying for collabs.
I was just about to ask that.
Like, what is that? Like,
yo, producers playing.
We haven't talked about that.
Yo, let's talk about that because I get DM'd about that a lot, and I don't think it's cool. But like, producers are charging other producers to collab with them now.
So here's my opinion, and then you give your opinion.
Okay,
we'll all give our opinions because we haven't. I'm surprised we haven't really touched on this subject on this podcast. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I've never done it. I've never charged to collaborate with another producer. I personally would never do it. Only because it kind of goes in line with the whole like beat leasing thing, which I'm also not opposed to, but not personally in this place where I'm interested in doing it. So this is my personal opinion. I'm not saying it's bad. I personally wouldn't do it. I think the motivation behind paid collaborations with producers is really just for some money.
Of course.
Right.
And
100%.
It's the morally it's very much the same as leasing or selling a beat to a rapper that you don't like. You're really just give me the money, here's my service, we're done. And that's just a product service payment, wipe your hands, we're done, move on, we're good. Now whatever repercussions happen after that are entirely up to you. It's your responsibility to take that in. So I'm not personally into the pay to collaborate with me as a producer thing, and I just don't see that being beneficial outside of just making some bread. And if you just want to make bread, people gotta do what they gotta do sometimes. And if you're making good money from it, that's fine. But yeah, I personally wouldn't do it.
Trilogy, what do you think?
Yeah,
I mean, I think the way the music industry is now and the producer game, it's a lot of exploitation going on. People just taking advantage of their situation or their position, and nobody's really like putting the art form first and foremost. So it's like, why would I charge you to collab with me and I don't like the beat?
Right.
That's first and foremost. If I don't like what I'm hearing, like, I'm not even going to entertain it. So everything has to be like a good vibe. Everything just got to be working the right way, and that's how you find out like stuff is going to work out for you in the long run. So it's like, if you try to exploit and take advantage, like that's as far as you're gonna go. But if you do the right thing, like, yo, let's see what we could do. Let's work together. Let's build a relationship. Let's build a sound. Let's build something. And then 2 years down the line, y'all might be the biggest.
The new Neptunes.
Yep.
Drake and 40.
You know.
Yep.
And I really admire and love what the homie Boy Wonder is doing in terms of like really being mindful of who he collaborates with, and then also just like building a squad too. Like he's Vinyls came up under Wanda, Jahan Sweet, Alan Ritter, Sevin Thomas. And he's kind of creating this like world, and I think as
he created the Super Friends,
Wonder Girl,
because everybody that comes up under him now, like they have their own lane, so they don't need him. So, and when they do come together, it's like,
oh my god,
like
Voltron,
it's Voltron, exactly.
I wish everybody like thought along those lines.
And that's what I was gonna say is, I think when you hopefully as a producer, when you reach that point where you have that much leverage, that you do kind of reach out and start bring people in, molding and all that stuff. I'm like kind of slowly starting to do that for myself, and so that's
I already started.
What are you doing as far as starting it?
Like, I know people that play keyboard in church. I'm like, yo, this is the vibe, because it's that 90s feel is coming back.
That R&B,
that real 90s R&B is coming back. So I'm like, yo, listen, send me some chord progression, send me some EPs of whatever, I'll make it work.
And
you need that person that actually plays than somebody that's sitting there clicking in melodies. You're not gonna.
Thank you for saying that. I say that all the time.
Yeah.
You got to get that person in the studio with you.
I mean, I play, but I need that real person that can make you feel the emotion through those chords.
Exactly.
Put the drums behind it and everything.
That's
the
it.
artist is not gonna say no because that's not what's happening now.
Right.
Yeah.
So your shit is gonna stand out.
Yep.
I'm so glad you said that because I'm always like when we get hit up and they're like, well, I'm a producer in a small town and we don't have music. I'm like, bro, go on Craigslist, find a dope piano, violin, saxophone player, put it on Craigslist and bring them in the studio and just record them, and you just program the beat around their instrumentation, and that's it.
Yeah, because that's it. What I find is musicians, they're not actually good beat makers because they're so focused on the instrumentation and I want to put this fill. I'd be like, no, I said just do that. Leave it at that. Exactly. They want to do all the fancy stuff and like, nah, that's too much.
You have to, be able to have the discipline as a producer to control the simplicity of it all.
Yeah, definitely.
Honing in.
Let's just wait for this and then I'll edit out. That's the air, right? It's a little vent.
All is concerned.
That shit is crazy.
Yeah, I think like paying, like I think like you were saying that's how the music industry is now. People try to capitalize off everything. It's like they'll try to charge you for anything.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I was
they're charging for meetings at labels.
Yeah.
So it's like,
listen, there's even, I won't name names, but there's people who aren't producing music that are representing producers that are creating their own publishing companies and taking their clients' publishing.
There are people that
which is like super like not
cool.
Like
not cool.
You know what I'm saying?
They're like
just taking advantage of upcomers.
There's like influencers that are like, oh, pay $300 to have 10 minutes with me. It's like it's all a money grab, and I think if you're trying to make your money, like that's a lane, and if you have an audience that's gonna pay for it, cool. But it's just the same thing as like paying for a feature for like an artist that you don't care about. It's like, all right, give me a quick 3 bands and I'll give you 16. But you don't know this dude, you never met him in your life, you probably don't care about him.
Like pretty much
it's all legwork, relationships.
It's all relationships and like legwork and like take initiative on your own.
Facts.
That's just 100%. What it comes down to. There's no real cheat codes.
Right.
No.
And then it's like, unfortunately for some people, that's like their way in, right? It's like, because like when you think of it, there's a lot of people in positions that won't even sit with you for 10 minutes, even if you know them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of hard to sometimes even get in a room with people that you know, and they keep giving you the runaround. So it's like, those people wouldn't sit down with someone that they have no idea about. And I'm not saying that like charging for it is cool, whatever, but like they make a business out of that. Like, let's make a competition. Let's see who's worthy of that. Right. You know, and not to say that it's good or not, but you know, the people that invest in that are probably people that are eager to get in those rooms, but don't have access any other way. Like us knowing the industry, we look at it a certain way. We feel like we don't necessarily have to do that, or we have in the past, but we feel like we don't now. But there are kids that can't get in those rooms, so they feel like, let me pay that or try that.
Listen, it's business 101, right? You pay for a service and you get the service. Some services are whack as fuck. Some services are amazing, which are you know, worth X amount of dollars or whatever you're spending, and there's always going to be both. There's always going to be both, you know.
In the music industry, like, you paying for a feature or a service or whatever it is you feel like you're going to pay for, and it's going to put you in a better position. It'll never be a better position than if you grinded and those people came to you.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate leverage is getting yourself popping.
Yeah. Or even like having them notice you, like, oh, I heard about you. Hey, what's going on, man? Like, how you been? Yeah. It's a different conversation than if you paying for something. Because if I'm paying for it, then I need you. Yeah. No, it's a mutual thing.
The leverage changes when you're paying.
And trust me, it takes a long time to gain that leverage. You start from zero, and then you're at level 1, level 2, and then you're at.
Yeah, but I'd rather spend that time creating that leverage than spending all this money and being.
I mean, listen, it took you more than 10 years to have the, you know, obviously before Get the Strap, you've done records already, but this Get the Strap leverage is different. This is a different.
It's a different ball game now.
And
that's
and
like going from college to the NFL right now.
And you started in 06, and so that was, you know, 12 years in the making right there for that moment. And you're only just beginning. You're gonna have many more moments after this, I'm sure, which is amazing. So this stuff takes a long time, and I think the disconnect is just like people being a little impatient, a little entitled, and just not investing in that way.
Yeah, there's no such thing as an overnight success.
No,
because even like one thing with me, I do my homework. So when there's a new hot producer that comes out, right, I'm like, yo, where this guy came from? If you check like mixtapes 3 years before, you see their name somewhere. So like, damn, he did that from 3 years ago. So now he's finally getting his just due. So it's like that was never in my mind where I'm just gonna come out the gate and be like, oh, look at me, I'm the next hot producer. Like, I always knew, like, yo, it's a constant grind till you get to that point.
Exactly. Trilogy, man, thank you for joining us, man.
My pleasure.
A lot of gems. Where can people reach you? Social media, shout it all out.
I only got Instagram at Trilogy Music, Trilogy, MUZIK.
TrilogyMusic.com. Any website or anything?
Nah, no websites.
All right.
Instagram is the website.
All right. Here we go. You guys ready?
It's about that time.
Ollie's ready.
It's about that time for the.
Don't be shy.
You're already calling it. You're already calling it.
Oh, she's ready. Ollie's ready. All right. So this is our segment of the show called BLAPCHAT. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna listen to your beat submissions at random via our website, beatthread.com. So we helped build this website called beatthread.com, BEATTHREAD.com. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this website and we're going to choose your beats that you uploaded to this website at random, and we're going to play a little beat snippet, and if we like the beat, we're going to give you a blap, and if we don't, we'll give you a crap and give you a little bit of constructive criticism. Always. Sometimes destructive criticism, right, Atlas? Yep.
Destructive.
No comment.
No comment. So, if you want to partake in this segment, all you have to do is go to beatthread.com, create a account, which is free, and start uploading your beats. Make sure when you upload your beat, you hashtag blap or crap so that we can find your beat and choose your beat. And beatthread.com is a really cool website. You can, it works like SoundCloud. You can upload your track, your beat, you can receive critique. There's a rating system here for different users to give you critique and receive critique. There's a new point system that I believe we just we're in beta right now for the point system, right, Atlas?
Correct. That's correct. Yeah, you can go in there and get points for engaging on site. And we have Battleground. So we're choosing tracks each month. So definitely go in there and submit your track for the Battleground.
Yeah, so there's this cool feature on the website called Battleground. So if you hit the Battleground tab, you could download a sample that we provide, and you download it, you flip it, and submit it, and you get your slot in there, and then the best man wins.
Correct.
So go to battleground.com, and just in general, beatthread.com is just like a really cool website for producers to just like network and battle each other and get feedback on beats and listen to other beats, become inspired. It's really great. So our first submission for today is by Beats Phantom. Let's go. Yeah. It's the real hip-hop. Sam got the hip-hop arm. She's ready. Ooh. Here we go.
I don't like you.
Oh. Whoa.
All right, we can stop.
The lip
Wait.
Too, so you
Hold on. All right. That was Beats Phantom, and the name of that beat was called Midnight. Atlas the Plug. Start that off, baby.
Yo, dude. No, I'm going to keep it a stack with you, though. For real. That shit was brown paper bag, bro.
Oh, my God.
I'm about to jump over this.
That was brown paper bag, bro. I know, but I will say this. Like, I wanted to hear, like, a bass line in there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to hear some transitions. I wanted to know when the chorus was popping and when it was the verse. Maybe add some extra hi-hats, a few textures on there. So for that, I'm crapping it. But there were elements in there. I think like the sample, I don't know if he created that or if he got it from a kit. Mm-hmm. The sample I was fucking with, but the delivery wasn't quite there. So I'm gonna crap that one.
Perfection.
I'm gonna crap that.
Crap.
It wasn't a brown paper bag. Phone's going
Atlas
off.
is so mean.
It wasn't a brown paper bag, but for me, I don't know, the sample was kind of cool, but it was all over the place as far as like levels. Like once that came in, I had to like move my headphones a little bit. So it wasn't a bad beat. It just wasn't it for me.
Wasn't it?
I wasn't mad at the drums, so to speak. It just kind of was like a very simple, mediocre drum pattern.
Yep.
Yep.
Glam?
I'm a little mad at the drum.
You're mad at the drums.
I'm mad at the drum selection. I'll say that. I don't think it's a brown paper bag necessarily either. It's still gonna be crap, but I think had it been that same drum pattern with like a different kick, maybe like you know, something harder, something thicker, like a crispier, like something like a nice snare, it could make the difference of like a beat sounding like or like, oh shit, like that really knocks. So like what I would recommend is to like really handcraft like picking your sounds, taking a little more time picking your sounds, because if you have everything else, like it's cool on like a sonic level, but if you don't have like the actual like instruments, like the actual sample itself was like really distorted and it was like real static and scratchy, confusing. Like you almost couldn't hear it. So I would definitely be careful with that. Like if you want that effect, like figure out how to do that without that shit, because that's not like it possibly could have been in the red. Like so just possibly I'm just trying to be nice.
That shit was in the purple.
It was that shit blew up. That shit blew up. Exactly.
You know, Roy G did red.
Like I said,
violet.
it sounds like you know how to make beats. So that's number one. But I would just say like main suggestion is to pick the sounds a little better.
Yeah, I'll keep mine short. They pretty much just said it all. Just like clean up that sample a little bit and work on the arrangement. Be a little bit more, put a little more love into the drums. I like the intro drum. Like the sound selection for the drum was cool, but I think you could have programmed them a little more interesting.
Yeah.
True?
I think you could have gave the drums a little more feel to it.
More feel, right?
It felt kind of stiff. And the sample, it sounded like it was a bit crushed. I don't know if that was intentional.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't
too much.
Yeah, too much.
You heard it.
It's like it's bad if it was or wasn't.
Yeah. All right, our next submission is by Rappers Need Beats. That's it. Rappers Need Beats. Here we go.
Plain and simple.
Keep it simple. West Side.
Don't fuck this up.
It's just a little stocky. It's like stock presetting.
That sub is crazy.
Yeah. Speed this up a little bit.
I would definitely bring the 808 down a little bit.
Yeah. Arrangements on point though.
See a pre-chorus right here. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that's what I like, the arrangement. I love that.
Yeah.
Catchy.
All right, that was Rappers Need Beats. Let's start with Trilogy on that one.
I think that's a BLAP.
Hey.
Oh, wow.
I'm getting Tyga vibes on that.
Yeah.
Nice real R&B rappish type. You know, you could go either way. That was pretty good.
Yeah, definitely a good beat. I can hear Tyga, different artists like that. Kind of has like a West Coast kind of feel to it. I wasn't mad at the beat. It just wasn't my cup of tea, so I'm gonna crap it. But doesn't mean it's a bad beat. To me, it was my first instinct about it was that I think some of the sound selection could have been a little bit more interesting for me. It sounded a little like preset-y, but you know, outside of that, you know, good arrangement, decent beat, could turn into something cool. I would also speed it up, maybe like 3 or 4 BPM, but definitely wasn't super mad at it. But I only blap stuff I love, so I'm gonna crap it. But yeah, not bad.
It's a crap.
Oh,
I don't know. It wasn't that. I'm just saying it wasn't that bad, but like it just. I don't know. The sub and the kick was a little messy. Like a little dirty. I can't really explain it, but on top of it not like really being my like super cup of tea, it was like it was still a cool beat, but I just feel like it was like not too much going on. I just wasn't a fan of the like super sub, but it wasn't bad. But I'm gonna crap it.
There you go.
I'm gonna blab that.
Blab.
Two
bleeps, 2
I'm
clips.
gonna blab that. Just because I think that's like one of the most structured tracks that I've heard us get in a while. And I can definitely hear some artists on it. I agree with Tyga, maybe with like a YG feature, very West Coast. I agree with you, Ill, on some of the sounds can be a little sound stocky. Maybe he can just like, you know, kind of, you know, switch those out. Cause, you know, sometimes I've been in situations where I'll make a beat and like this, I don't like the snare or the kick that much, but I'm like, let me just leave it there for a second to kind of, as like a placeholder and then switch it to the one that I'm really hearing. So he can do that. And I agree with speeding it up a bit, but it wasn't a bad track for me. It's one of the most structured that we've had in a while. And I like that. And the melodies were kind of cool. I like the way it came in. So I'll blap that.
There you go.
Fire. I'm going to crap that. I'm going to crap that. I'm going to crap it. I'm going to tell you why. Only because of the whole bass, like I have, like Il said, I have to love, like if I blab something, there's no denying it in my heart. I just feel a certain way about it. You know what I'm saying? And that the bass was just sloppy to me. So only for that reason, I'm going to crap it.
All right, there it is. Only so you got a little 50-50 action in there. Yeah. Not bad. Our next submission is by Nick Hill. Actually, no, it's not because we did Nick Hill already. All right, we're going to keep going. Our next submission is by Kevin Graham. Oh, this better be good. You didn't do this, right? No. Oh.
Kick hit is kind of weird, like that.
I was thinking it. You heard that too, right?
It's like that off note, or like what? Yeah. Yeah, that's just not. Trilogy.
It needs a re-chop.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
All right, but Kevin Graham.
Yeah, it's a crap.
Like if the vocal chop came in when the chorus of the track was there, you know what I'm saying? So you felt like the storyline.
Yeah.
Right now it was just all over the place.
I think he needs to mask that vocal chop too. It's just too out there. Like you can't put vocals on top of that, and that weird like.
It's just what you want, what you need. Yeah.
That kick
keeps going.
So that's a crap for me.
Yeah, crap for me too.
Crap.
Yep. I'm gonna crap that too.
Yep.
What does Ali think?
Ali says it's a crap.
Okay.
Oh no! Sorry, Ali.
Yo, she looks like she just said it. Look at her face.
Look at her teeth.
Crap.
She's like,
that's a freaking crap. Don't even ask me those questions.
Yeah, I mean,
it was
listen.
really that sub.
Yeah.
It's like really not quantized. It really like messed up everything.
Yeah. I do think that it has potential.
It has potential. It has potential.
You gotta get on your bass lines and
you were saying to re-chop it, right?
Yeah. And it needs a bass line. It needs maybe a pad and keys. Like you gotta lay all that stuff.
He needs to EQ that sample a little better too to get those.
That sample is just there for like a vibe. Yeah, like it's not supposed to be.
You gotta tuck that. Yeah, he gotta tuck that.
Too empty.
So here's a good example where you get those young instrumentalist like a bass player or a piano player to come in to put a layer over what you already have, and then you have something golden, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, but you got to get the timing right first, though.
Right.
Talk to him. Talk to him.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, our last submission for today is by L Producer X.
El Chapo.
Oh, you look so bad.
Do look pissed.
All right.
It's just kind of hard, yo. Not gonna lie.
This kind of gives me like something Glam would have fun on.
Hey, right?
Yeah, you gotta.
Or like Kendrick.
Yeah, you could do some. I hate this change up. I hate this change up. Shouldn't have did this.
Yeah, you should have kept it.
I should have kept the original.
This is when you get too fancy. Too fancy right now. All right, go back.
Let's
Ready?
see where it goes. Let's get it.
Still not there yet.
Had it in the first 4 bars though. Had it.
I like the.
Let's see if it comes back. The bass line is cool.
Exactly.
The bass line is driving it.
Yeah.
I think keep like the kicks in the bass line and just.
There it goes.
You got to keep that in there.
Ooh.
It sounds like a ad.
I think the thing gotta go.
It's not perfect, but it's bouncy.
It's got potential.
Stop.
Potential.
It's got potential.
Yeah.
It ain't. It's cool.
That part is a mistake. All right.
Gotta go.
So that was L Producer X. I'll start it off. That was almost a blap for me, man. I can't blap it because it's not perfect. So I'm gonna crap it. But if he would have just, or he or she would have just kept that like the way it started,
in
and
the
then
beginning,
not changed it, and then kind of kept it fluid throughout, and really kept it simple. And also too, there were a couple little blips in there that I probably would have moved or like EQ'd or maybe found like a cooler sound for. But I love the main melody. The drums were moving. I like the BPM where it is. It's almost there for me. So that has potential to be a blap for sure to me. But a couple missteps there, so I'm gonna crap it.
Because I wasn't super crazy about it, I'm not gonna blap it. But I did I did appreciate the bounce. Appreciate the bass line. I do agree with the switch up. It was like, I think when you do a switch up, you have to make sure it's just as good as the A part. Yep. So it's like, if you're making that B part of that C part, make sure that they're like, honestly, like flourishing in every way, because it'll be a blatant like noticeable, like, oh, this part's obviously like the hit that I like, and then the other part is like, not so much. So I'll just be careful about like, switching and making it. So, like, still make it simple, but just make it more good. Yeah. Make a slapper. So
What do you guys think?
I'm gonna crap that. I like the bounce and I like the 808. I didn't really like the thin in it. I think I think that could be tuck or just remove that completely and keep everything from the beginning, like you said, before the switch up and without that. And that would have been like a blap for me. But it wasn't a bad beat. Like Glam said, I really appreciate the bounce. I think once it came on, I was bouncing. So, yeah.
Yeah, we all were.
I'm going to crap it, but I will say if for the first 16, and I really never say this, but for the first 16 of that track, just copy, paste,
duplicate, yeah.
Because the artist is going to flip so much shit over that. It's just going to take it to a whole nother level. And normally, I'll be honest, I'm like a 16 bar, the 8 bar hook, 16 bar, usually second hook, the bridge, the hook, and then the outro. Normally, I'm about that life. But for this one, fuck that. Just copy and paste and just go ham.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Phil, mind it off?
It's a little too, I don't know, happy for me.
Yeah, I mean this is from the person who produced Get the Strap. You're not gonna fly from you with this shit. You know what I mean? Like, come on, dude.
It makes sense.
All right, Get the Strap or this. Like, come on.
Tekashi on the.
Hold on. No, that's not gonna fly. So far, yeah. Too happy.
Yeah.
Man, all right, so kind of underwhelming once again. Listen, guys, producers, if you want to submit to this segment, Blap for Crap, all you have to do is go to beatthread.com, create an account if you don't have one already, create your profile. It's completely free, and just start uploading your tracks, start giving feedback, receiving feedback. There's a cool rating system, and all the highest rated tracks float to the top of the page, and it's a really cool website. We have drum kits, there's a battleground, there's some tutorial videos, really cool website, beatthread.com. Trilogy, man, thank you for coming through.
Thank you so much.
Any last minute kind of like shouts on what you're working on now that you could mention? I know we kind of
any advice
earlier.
Anything?
Yeah, what's you know what? Yeah, let's end it off like that. What's one final kind of last piece of advice you can give to the upcoming music producer, if you could only pick one?
I mean, just stay true to who you are, man. As far as like sonically or whatever, don't be just because one producer is hot don't mean you got to sound like him. I mean, it seems like it's a lot of that going on. That's why the music is just all so repetitive and mundane. Like you never know. Somebody might like what you made, and you might be the next big thing. So just I say to all producers, just stay true to your sound.
Facts. All right. Well,
good advice.
Episode 85. You already know. Trilogy in the building. We appreciate you guys. Let's give a round of applause for Trilogy for joining us today.
Trilogy in the
Trilogy, one more time, baby.
I'm in BLAPCHAT.
BLAPCHAT, yeah. Let's go. Oh my God. We're out of here. We'll see y'all next week.
Everything is blap.
Everything is blap. Peace.